do, folks? This is Panther Jim, and this is another commentary. It's a wager match on Stadium, and I'm playing with four other guys from the D-Gen crew and one random here. And my commentary is about a recent discussion that I had with my mom and dad. I went to go visit my mom and dad, at their home. And I was born and raised in your mostly typical Mexican family. We're very quiet. My mom was more the dominant person. She did all the punishments and the scolding and what have you. My dad did a little bit, but it was mostly my mom that I feared the most. And so we're visiting and we're talking about family issues and what have you. And the subject about my nieces and the recent troubles that they're in came about. I have a few nieces that recently got pregnant when they were 16 and 17, and we were discussing that. So my mom brought up the question, well, didn't their mothers talk to them about the birds and the bees? And like I said, being in my household at that age, at my when I was living there, sex was not spoken in our household. I mean, like it's forbidden. I don't know if it was a Mexican thing or not, but mom and dad it was not spoken about. Anyway, so my mom says, well, didn't their mom talk to them about the birds and the bees? And I kind of laughed at her, and I said, what? And she goes, yeah, well, didn't they talk to her about, talk to the kids about that? I said, Mom, I never got that conversation. And she goes, I never got that conversation from you. And she goes, well, it wasn't up to me. That was your dad's job. Didn't your dad ever talk to you about that? And I said, no. I said, so I explained to my mom that the closest I ever got to that conversation, about sex, was I was 8 years old, and I'm watching TV, love TV, and I was watching an episode of Good Times, and that episode was when JJ found out that he had VD, so he was going to the free clinic. Now, my dad had this tendency of pacing around the house, just because he always wanted to know what everybody was doing inside the house. So this is what he did when he got home from work. So he was just kind of pacing around the house doing his thing, and I'm in my room watching TV. And so when the episode happened, like why JJ was in the free clinic about VD, I didn't know what the hell they were talking about. So I called on my dad, as he was kind of pacing around the hallway, and I go, "Hey, Dad," and he's like, "What? What, mijo?" I said, I just kind of blurted out, "What's VD?" He stopped in mid-walk through the hallway, stopped, ran into my room, and shut the door. And first thing he says, "You didn't ask your fat mama, did you?" And I said, "No, I never asked her." I said, I'm asking you, what's VD? And he kind of had like this puzzled look on his face, and kind of hurried up and said, it's something that happens, or could happen when you get older, and right now you're too young to know anything about it, and that's it. So that was the closest that I got in regards to that subject, and I thought it was pretty funny. So my dad comes into the kitchen as my mom and myself are talking about this, and he's like, well, what are you guys laughing about? And I said, well, we're discussing, about my nieces, about them getting pregnant. And then Mom asked me, well, didn't your dad, didn't their mom talk to them about sex? And I said, well, hell, I never got that talk about sex with you, Dad. And he's like, well, what do you mean? I said, Dad, the closest that I ever got. And then I go into the story about watching the episode of Good Times. So after going through that whole, song and dance, my mom's laughing, and I'm laughing. And my dad has like this serious look on his face. He looks at me and he tells me, well, I must have did a pretty good job then, because I got two beautiful granddaughters now. And then he kind of walked away. So I don't know if he was kind of hurt, but that was part of the upbringing, in my household. And if anybody wants to leave a comment on it and like how they got their first conversation, if they ever had that conversation with their mom and dad, I would like to hear about it. Really, if it wasn't for my best friend, I probably still wouldn't know anything about this subject. And I owe my best friend a lot. Known him since I was like 6 years old, and like I said, he's a brother to me, and we still talk to this day. Anyway, that's about it. Got nothing else going on. I think I'm gonna actually try another commentary with the actual gameplay commentary, not just a random subject that I want to talk about. Came out victorious in this round, and that's it. This is Panther Jim, and thanks for watching my video, and hope you guys have a good one. Peace.